Alrock 30-06 here. Just doing a video on what you should do before you go sight in your scope at 100 yards. Prior to going out, first thing you want to make sure that everything's mounted properly on your firearm, like everything is tight, your rings are tight, your scope's level to your rifle or shotgun. Um, those are the first things you want to do. Secondly, what I recommend when you do make a purchase on a scope, a lot of places like Cabela's and Bass Pro, they would actually mount it onto your firearm for free and actually bore sight the firearm as well with the scope for free. So I recommend that you take them up on those offers and save you the headaches, okay? So that's my first option. What you should do before you sight in your rifle at 100 yards is get it bore sighted on the place of purchase. Now, if that's not an option for you and you say you're mounting on yourself and so on and so forth, then I recommend that you make sure everything's done properly, like your scope is leveled with your firearm and everything is fastened and secure and that there's no wiggling of your scope and it's nice and firm, okay? So if you do have to bore sight it yourself, what I recommend is at 50 yards, you look through the bore and try to line it up with the crosshairs on your scope. Now, the best thing to use is a sled. Now, if you don't have a sled, the next best thing is a sandbag. See, I have this here. I have a sandbag. So the back here is secure in the butt of the stock. And up here, I have a sandbag holding, the stock of the rifle. So what you want to do is take the bolt out and line everything up. So I'm going to show you how to do that in this video. First thing when you handle a firearm, I always emphasize this because I don't want to see accidents happen because people are being negligent with their firearms. Always assume it's loaded before handling your firearm. So what you have to do is what we call prove it safe. Okay. So what you do is, okay, take your action, cycle it. I always cycle 2-3 times. Okay. So there is a cartridge in the chamber of your firearm. It's going to spit it out in the ejection port. So, okay. So now I'm going to open the action just to make sure there's no obstruction as well in there. And it looks like everything is clear. So now we're ready to take the bolt out, okay? Now to take the bolt out of this, you have to put it on fire, okay? First off, okay? And then there's a lever here. You got to press down on that and the trigger and pull the bolt out, okay? So now the bolt's out, okay? So the next step after that, okay, when you're at 50 yards, you line up first the hole of the barrel, through the barrel, line up with the bullseye, and then secure it somehow. So say like I'm doing it here, okay? And I got this right on the bullseye. Now, you can do one of two things, okay? You can do the clicks down, okay, visually. Just keep clicking down. So say the crosshairs is higher than the hole that you're looking through on the barrel on the target. So if it's high, you have to bring the crosshairs down. So what you would do is take your cap off, okay? So you take your caps off, okay, like this. And then when you look on here, you'll see right there, see that? There's U, that means up, and D is down. So if your crosshairs is higher than where the bore is lined up with the bullseye, you want to bring it down if it's high. So see how the D is there and you go down. So you want to go down until it meets the bullseye, okay? So that's how you do it visually. And then on the sides, there, you see, there's R and L. So say if it's right of the bullseye, you would click left until your crosshairs line up with the bullseye going left, okay? If you want to do it visually. So that's how you would do it visually, okay? So that's how that works there. So you just keep clicking, you line up like this, okay? Okay, you look through here, you make sure it's lined up, then you keep clicking here, bring it down, and then you go to the side, and you keep clipping here, and you bring it left, okay, if it's right. So that's how that works when you do it visually, and you just keep going up and down until everything lines up. And then at 50 yards, you can go and take a shot. And if you're within like an inch or two, then you're okay to go back to 100 yards and sight in your rifle at 100 yards. Now, if you're like, 10 in, like 5-10 inches, then you need to keep working on lining up everything with the scope. Now, if you did take a shot and you feel like you didn't pull or anything like that, and you did an accurate shot, then you can do your calculations per click. But at 50 yards, okay, it's not 4 clicks per inch, it's 8 clicks per inch because you're in half the distance of 100 yards, okay? So it's going to be 8 clicks per inch. And I'm going to show you on paper how to do the calculations on paper at 50 yards, how many clicks per inch. Also, instead of like doing it visually like I'm saying, if you can see like how far you are distance-wise, because you have 1-inch grid squares on your target, you can do the calculations going down and going left on the clicks by doing the calculation too, instead of keep on looking up and down through the bore and the scope of the rifle. So I'm going to show you on paper how to do the calculations on paper with 1-inch grid squares to show you how to do the clicks at 50 yards, trying to bore sight your rifle so you can shoot at 100 yards, okay? All right, so I'm going to show you on paper how to do the clicks if you want to do the clicks instead of visually. If you want to take a shot at 50 yards instead of bore sighting your rifle, you can do that too if you know you're going to get on paper. So pretend this is your bullseye, okay? And this here is your bullet, okay, that went into your target. Now, each square here represents 1 square inch on your target. And if you shot here, and this is what you're aiming for, you're going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inches high, okay? And we'll go to the center point from your bullseye. This is 1, 2, 3, and that's in the middle, so that'd be 3.5 left, okay? Now, this is how you would calculate your clicks. Now, on the scope, it tells you at 100 yards, it's 4 clicks per inch. But now remember, you're doing this at 50 yards because you have to get on paper. It's going to be 8 clicks per inch. So you got to double the clicks on your scope. So if it's 8 clicks per inch because you're shooting at 50 yards, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 8 is 40. So you're going to do 40 clicks going down, okay? So 40 clicks down. And if you're 1, 2, 3.5 inches left, then you want to go right, and you would do 3 times 8, okay? So 3 times 8 is 24, and now it's a 1/2 inch per 1/4 inch. I'm sorry, it's 2 clicks per 1/4 inch now, so that would be 4 clicks added on to that. So it'd be 28 clicks right, okay? So you have 3 times 8 is 24, and then you would have 4 clicks for the 1/2 inch. So you put 4 plus 24 is 28. So it'd be 28 clicks right from this point. So you go 28 right and 40 down, and that would put you into the bullseye area. Now, when you're shooting at 50 yards to get on paper, so you'd be on paper at 100 yards, you don't have to be right on the bullseye. As long as you're within an inch or two of the bullseye, you can move back to 100 yards and then start your process of zero in at 100 yards. But that's how, if you're not getting on paper at 100 yards, you want to go about sighting your scope, go at 50 yards, and then remember, you got to double your clicks, and that's how you would do it. So yes, this concludes my video today. Furthermore, if you don't own a bolt action rifle and you can't bore sight visually through the bore and looking at the scope, what I would do then at that point is shoot at 50 yards. If your shot hits the target at 50 yards, then just use the calculating method that I explained to you in this video and sighting your scope that way by doing 8 clicks per inch as I showing you on paper. And that way you can sight in your rifle that way. Now, if even at 50 yards you're not hitting paper, then go at say 25 yards, and then it would be 16 clicks per inch. So that's how I would do it if you're not on paper. The other method I would do also is actually just have a bigger target, and even if it's off the target, but say you have a backing on it where it's like a piece of plywood, you can get a measuring tape and figure out your clicks that way as well. So those are just some methods to get you on paper. This is Al Rock 30-06. If you like my channel and you're a new hunter and you want to learn more tips, then feel free to like and subscribe my channel. I would greatly appreciate that. And I know how it feels to be a new hunter or shooter. I've been there before, and it's a lot of work. So this is what my YouTube channel is dedicated to helping people that were just like me and help them get on their way. All right, so this is Al Rock 30-06, over and out.